welcome back to another video, and a special big hello if you are new. Today, or for this vlog rather, I thought that I would do a reading vlog, and I had this idea of where I would reread books that I loved when I was younger. So rereading kind of childhood classics, and then kind of seeing what my take is on those books as an adult. So for this video, we're going to be reading a few books within the Little House series. And I have my box set here. I don't think that this is, well, I mean, obviously you can probably tell by the condition. This is not the box set that I had when I was little. I don't know if I just borrowed them from the library or if I owned them. But I loved the Little House series, and I'm really excited to reread them as an adult. So for the sake of this video, I thought I would start with the first three, which will be Little House in the Big Woods. I loved this book when I was younger. It was one of my favorite books of all time. I reread it so much. I love Laura Ingalls, and I just thoroughly enjoyed this one. I did reread it probably like 5 or 6 years ago, so it still has been a good bit. But other than that, this is the only one that I've reread as an adult from like probably elementary school age. So I'm very excited to be starting with this one today. And then on the back of the box, according to it, the next book that I should read is Farmer Boy. I was not the biggest fan of Farmer Boy as a child. I think I only read it once because I did not care. I just wanted to read books about girls. I didn't want to read books about boys. So I am excited to reread it. Like I said, I have not touched it since I was probably in like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. I don't know. But I am pretty excited to read this one. And then the next one is the more popular Little House on the Prairie. I do remember this book made me very sad when I was a kid because the idea of Laura having to leave everything behind, like her family and her home, and just travel like so far away, that made me really sad. So again, I'm very interested in seeing kind of what I think of it as an adult. So these are the books that I want to read within the next few days. I'm getting ready to sit down and start Little House in the Big Woods. It is a very dark, cloudy, overcast day. It keeps looking like we're going to have thunderstorms, but we do not have any yet. But we're actually supposed to get snow tonight, and I know it's not going to amount to anything, but it has been like 80 degrees all November, so I'm here for some snow and some actual like seasonal weather. We've got a candle lit. I don't know if it's in the shot or not, but it's gonna be really cozy. And I got some tea. Do you need that? I got some tea from one of my friends when I hung out with her the other day. So I'm gonna try that and settle down and read. But before we do that, I do want to give you a reading update on some of the other books that I'm currently reading as well. So I'm currently reading 2 other books, 2 adult books. The first one is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This is the last book on my fall TBR, and I am a decent ways in it. I am on chapter 17 or page 114. I have been enjoying this book very much. It kind of reminds me of Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. I feel like if you liked one, you'll probably like the other. It is kind of heavy, but the book as a whole hasn't been too heavy. There's just been parts that have been really hard to kind of read. But Demon is also only 10 at this point, so obviously we're seeing a lot of things through a child's eyes, and that's probably subject to change, as he gets into like teenage, young adult years. So I am enjoying it, but like I said, it's quite heavy, and I am an empath, and if I read something that is heavy or sad or has more like traumatizing things in it, I dream about it. So before bed, I have been reading I think this is the 5th book in the Blood and Ash series. So I've been reading A Soul of Ash and Blood. And I'm not very far in it. I am on page 53. And I wouldn't necessarily categorize this as like light reading, but it's also obviously like nicer to escape into like a fantasy world rather than traumatizing coming of age in Appalachia. So that's what I've been reading. But I'm gonna make myself some tea and settle down and read a little bit. And I do have to check in to work again in about an hour and a half. So I will check into work and then I'll be all finished for the day, and we'll just see where the rest of the day takes us. Hello. You're so cute. No, that's too hot. That's too hot. I'm so excited. Once upon a time, 60 years ago, a little girl lived in the big woods of Wisconsin in a little gray house made of wax. Oh, just chills. Paul had promised Laura and Mary the bladder and the pig's tail. He was blowing up the bladder and made a little white balloon, and he tied the end tight with a string and gave it to Mary and Laura to play with. They could throw it into the air and pat it back and forth with their hands, or it would bounce along the ground and they could kick it. I don't know. Goodness gracious, how different times are. And there they are, like playing with the bladder of the pig. Mary had a rag doll named Nettie. Laura had only a corn cob wrapped in a handkerchief, but it was a good doll. It breaks my heart. Oh gosh, she looks so precious. I know it's just a cartoon, but look at her with her balloon. Hello friends, it's a little bit later. I'm all finished with work for the day, which is really nice. I think that I'm going to take Clementine out, and then I have a few chores that I need to catch up with, but I wanted to give you a quick little reading update. So I am on page 83, so nearing halfway, but we're not quite there yet. We just had Christmas and Laura got her doll Charlotte. I remember when I was little reading that part and it feeling like really special. This book, especially in the series, is one that really stuck out to me a lot as a child. So, but we have a few things to do and some dinner to be had, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Morning, friends, and happy Thursday. It is snowing outside. It makes me really happy. I feel like I need to go make like hot chocolate. I don't know if you can tell, but behind me I've not made the bed or really done any type of like morning chores. Like I still have everything thrown out where I got ready this morning, and I just need to kind of get it together. But it's just really cold, and I just really want to curl up in bed and read a little bit more of Little House in the Big Woods because it's winter time right now in the story, and just imagining like being in a cabin and being surrounded by trees and snow and a warm fire. That just sounds so cozy to me, and that's where I want to be in my headspace. So I have about an hour break of work, and then I'll log back in, and I'll pretty much work until about 6. So I probably won't check in anymore, at least during the workday. But I will check in after. But I think instead of prioritizing making the bed and doing those types of things, I'm going to curl up and read for a little bit, and then maybe I'll do some chores before I log back in, but we'll see. Also, look at this precious baby. She's cold. I'll have to put a sweater on her later. Hello, I am almost finished. I have this much left. I have about 30 pages, and that will literally take like 15 minutes because obviously it's a children's book, but I'm enjoying it so much. One of the big takeaways that I have from this book this time is that there's a part in there where it's Sundays, and Laura is talking about how she hates Sundays and because they can't play and do as much on Sundays. And Ma and Paul pretty much tell her a story about what Sundays used to be like for children. And they talk, essentially, basically, they're saying like the world has changed, and now like kids get to be kids, and you get to have a lot more fun on Sundays than kids used to. And I thought that was just really interesting, like perspective, because if you compare like childhood from Laura's time to now, you would think like kids get to be more childlike and stuff like that. So I thought that that was really interesting, like a really cool perspective as an adult to kind of reflect upon. Also, I read the chapter earlier today where they go to the dance at the grandparents' house, and I was really surprised at how well I remembered that, because that was like one of my favorite parts as a kid. I loved that so much, and I remembered it so vividly. Also, we're kind of to the point where Laura is noticing like the physical differences in her and Mary, and she's very envious of Mary and like her curls and her blonde hair. And as a little girl, I wanted blonde curly hair so bad. And I remember when I read this, I really related to Laura as a character, because I was like, girl, I feel you. I have stringy, ugly brown hair too. And, like, I don't think I would want to be a blonde now as an adult. So, I just think it's really funny how things like that change. But I remember, like, really, like, felt that in my heart when I read this, as a child. Also, I am in love with Paul. Like, in love. What a man. That's probably the biggest takeaway, is that, like, I, too, would go live in the woods and take care of this man's household. Like, he's amazing. And I know a lot of it is just because Laura really loves her dad and really like idolizes him. And I think that you can tell that he was a very good father, or at least fictionally was a very good father. So I've really enjoyed like reading that, and I'm curious to see like if that will stay as the books go and Laura gets older. So I've really been enjoying it. I want to read like something not fictional. I would love to read some like nonfiction about Laura and her childhood. Like, I don't know, I'm just very curious. So I'm definitely gonna have to do some research and see if I can find that. I know the History Chicks have an episode on Laura, and I listened to it years ago. So I might end up re-listening to that this weekend to just have a little bit like more perspective. But it's going really great, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm gonna finish Little House in the Big Woods. I don't think I'm gonna start Farmer Boy tonight. I'll probably start it tomorrow because I only work until noon tomorrow, so I'll have the whole day to read Farmer Boy. And I don't want to neglect the other like adult books that I'm reading, so I'll probably read a little bit of like Demon Copperhead and the Blood and Ash book tonight some too. So, but anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little reading update, and I will check back in with you at some point. Hello friends, and welcome back. It has been literally an entire week since I last left off this vlog. And what a week it's been. It has been Thanksgiving week, so we've had a day with my family, we've had a day with Jeremy's family, I had a bonus day with my mom and my nephews. I've spent time with both of my best friends in the past week or so. Jeremy's been off work, so we've had every day to spend together, which has been really wonderful and lovely, and it truly has just been the best week, and I feel just really full and content and so fortunate to have friends and family that make the holiday special, because I know that everyone isn't as fortunate as I am in that regard. And I've just found that as I get older, I just appreciate that so much, especially seeing like what some of like my friends and other people who are close to me kind of deal with. So it's been really nice. And I don't know, I feel ready to go back to work next week. I'm really fortunate too. I have a job that doesn't really give me the Sunday scaries a whole lot. And I just feel ready to kind of knock out these next like 3 weeks and then get to enjoy like everything from this week all over again. I think it'll be so wonderful. But we've also decorated for Christmas, and I think that our house just feels so cozy and wonderful, and I don't know, it's just been a really good week. But we obviously have not really read any on Little House, and I wanted to give you an update because I have started Farmer Boy. I've read a little bit before bed a couple times within the past week or so. I am on page 203 out of, it's like 370 something, 372. So we are over halfway, and the goal is to finish it today, start Little House on the Prairie, and then finish Little House on the Prairie tomorrow. Jeremy has to work tomorrow's Saturday, so I think it'll be the perfect opportunity for me to just knock it out and finish it. But my thoughts on Farmer Boy so far. I enjoy it a lot more than I did as a little girl. I think it's very funny because kind of the whole premise of this book is Almanzo grows up on this giant farm in New York State, and he wants so badly to have the responsibility of working with the horses and helping break the horses and work with them from infants up until they sell them or whatever. And Almanzo's father is just like, you are not responsible enough. You need to prove to me that you can be responsible enough to handle that. And I don't know if you hear my stomach. I'm hungry. But every opportunity that Almanzo has to prove to his father that he can handle the responsibility and that he can be responsible, he blows it. And it's so funny to me because it's just like such a child to want the responsibility of being an adult, but to not prove yourself when that opportunity comes. Like there's a scene in here where they're like shearing sheep, and Almanzo's job is to carry the tufts of wool, I guess, up the stairs and then come back and kind of help store them as they're shearing them and tying them up or whatever. And he gets distracted by the cats and like doesn't come down for a little while. And I don't know, it's just like little things like that. It's very funny. I will also say, I feel like Almanzo had a much more conventional upbringing than Laura. But Laura's childhood, to me so far, feels so much more magical and just so much more loving and whimsical, and I just love it in comparison to Almanzo's. I don't know what it is. It's just, I would much rather be in the little house in the big woods than on this farm. And the relationships that Laura has with her siblings and her family is just very different than, it's just much more close-knit than the ones that Almanzo has with his. He has a brother who's close to his age, and so I figured there would be lots of like little antics and things like that, but there just really wasn't. So I don't know. It's just definitely different, but I'm obviously enjoying it so much more than I did as a little girl. But we are going to go ahead and finish this book and start Little House on the Prairie, and we'll see where else the day takes us. So let's get to it, friends. Look how cute. Hello, it is bedtime. I'm getting ready to curl up in bed and put my pajamas on. We finished Farmer Boy, and I am so happy to have finished it because I didn't really like it. I just got to the point where I was so tired of hearing about the intricate details of farming and building things, and I was over it. So I did skim a little bit of the ending just because I just couldn't take it anymore. But it's finished, it's over. I don't think that I will ever reread it in my lifetime. So that's that. I just think it's too long and too detailed. I don't know. I don't think that I am the proper audience for it either, which probably doesn't help. But we are going to start Little House in the Prairie and get a little ways into that so I can finish it up tomorrow. So let's get to it. Hello friends, and happy Saturday. I wanted to give you a reading update on Little House on the Prairie. So we are right here. I read 99 pages last night, so almost 100 pages, and then there's 332 or something like that. So we're not quite halfway, but we're gonna finish it today. I'm determined. My thoughts on this one so far: so much better than Farmer Boy. It was so refreshing to actually have a story with a little bit of a plot that didn't just hound in details of farming and farm life and building things. It's so refreshing. It was so atmospheric that when I was reading this last night, at one point, like when I put it down to go to bed, I was like, it's okay, Clem, we're safe. Like, because the dangers that they're facing is really like incredible. And it is just mind-blowing that like this was the norm. Like, this is what people did. This wasn't just true for the Ingalls family. Like, you packed up everything, you left everything behind, and you just went out to who knows where. And it was just, it's intense. I just could not imagine how scary that would be. Obviously for Laura, it's just like this big adventure because she's a child, but like Mary shows a lot more fear, and Ma especially. It's just crazy to think where like, you know, Paul would just disappear and like go explore and do things, and it's like something could have happened to him, and then this woman with these 3 little baby girls would have just been stranded. It's it's crazy to think about. It's just mind-blowing. There was a part in here that made me really sad about the dog, but it all turned out okay. I was like looking over at Clem, and it was like breaking my heart. It was so sad, and I'm really surprised that I didn't like remember that, because as a kid that would have like tore me up to pieces. So it's really great so far, and I'm enjoying it. But I will say this is also something I didn't notice as a child, and I'm obviously more aware of these things as an adult. There are some really negative views on Native American people, which is kind of crummy, because the land that the Ingalls go to settle on is Native American land. And there were rumors, and Paul was told that, or at least story-wise, I don't know, maybe he wasn't told in real life, you can correct me, but, you know, that the land was going to be taken away from the Native Americans, and then whites could settle on it. So that's why they're out there, but, like, this is not, like, legal land for them to be settling on, or maybe it is, but they don't know for sure, and they just took off and went. And obviously they, again, we're not the only ones. So like I said, there definitely are some negative stereotypes to Native Americans here that I'm noticing, and it's a little icky at times. It's like having that like grandma or like uncle say those things, and you're just like, no, like you can't say that kind of situations. So I don't know. I will link some resources though for like Native American literature and things like that, because I kind of realized while I was reading this that I'm very unaware, and I have not read hardly anything by like Indigenous peoples. So, and that's something I want to change, and maybe that's something you want to change too. But all in all, we are in the midst of an adventure, and we're going to settle down and read a little bit more of it, and we'll see where it takes us, and we will finish this today. I'm determined. It was so good. What a wild adventure. I do not remember the Ingalls being told that they had to vacate their land, or like soldiers would come. I don't really remember them leaving their land. Like, I thought once they moved out of the big woods, they settled in one place and that was it. But obviously that's not the case. But they were told to leave the Native American territory, and I don't know where they go from here. So that'll be fun in the next little vlog that I do to read the next 3 and kind of find out what happens to them. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I'm definitely still in love with Paul, for sure. I love him. He's just, what a man. One of my friends told me I need to watch the show. I've never watched the show, ever. I think I tried to watch it when I was younger, and it felt so different from the books that I didn't like it. So I think I'll have to wait a while before I do watch the show to remove myself where I've been rereading them. Or maybe now that I'm older, I can like differentiate. But I'm going to close out this vlog here because I need to wash my hair and get ready for bed. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and going on this journey of rereading. And I'll do the next 3 books in a couple weeks, and I will see you then. Bye.